All right. What is going on, everybody? My name is Jacob Allen Nielsen. I'm stoked to be a part of this. We have a brand new podcast that we're putting out. And then I'm the high school pastor at Bethany Church in Long Beach, California. I'm going to kick it over to my co-host, my main man, my partner in crime, my PIC to the LBC. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, my name is Mike Sexton. I don't use my middle name when I introduce myself, but I'm Mike. I am the junior high pastor here at Bethany Church, and we are just pumped up to be doing this new podcast. The podcast is CCP, which stands for a word that starts with C, another word that starts with C, and then podcast, if you haven't noticed. But it's top secret info. If it's top secret info, we can't let you know. We may or may not have used Wu-Tang name generator to figure out our podcast name. And so maybe think about what Wu-Tang may put us together as, something like that. Because that's our name. But we are just excited. This podcast is going to be fun. It's something new. It's something we've talked about for a long time. And us being in this situation has forced us to start it. And so I'm just excited to have another avenue to be able to talk to our students through different things that they want to discuss. So what are you excited about, bro?
Dude, I'm excited about so many different things. You know what I'm excited about is catching up on all the shows that I've been missing out on. Amen. You know what I mean? Dude, Sabrina and I have been crushing. Sabrina's my wife, by the way, if you guys don't know.
Ooh,
but we have been, come on, bro. We've been dusting through seasons upon seasons of shows. Like, without easy, like chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? Like, we'll watch we watched a couple different things so far. We watched, obviously, Tiger King. Not appropriate, not a sponsor. Don't watch it. This is not a church-sponsored show to watch. But if I'm being honest, that's what I watched. Also, we watched this show called The Politician about this young kid running for his high school president, ASB president. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's weirdly serious and quirky, but we chomped through that season real quick. But yeah, different shows. What about you, bro? What have you been watching?
We're watching Stranger Things for the first time.
Really? First time?
First time. It was one of those ones that like Hannah and I were scrolling through Netflix, and it was just like, this is one neither of us have ever even tried to get into.
Okay.
And so we just started it, and we're hooked. It's good. We're like halfway through season 2,
sick.
Which means it's not that long. All the seasons aren't very long, so we're on that. We tried. Neither of us are huge fans of The Office. I think it's funny to just watch in the background, but like not a show I'm gonna watch straight through.
Gotcha.
But we tried to do it, and we got like a ways in, and we're just like, nah, we're not into it. So we stopped watching it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So what season did you stop at?
I think we were in the middle of season 2.
Bro, you got to get to like season 4, bro.
I don't even. It's too like. It's just. I mean, I'll watch it, but like, I'm not going to sit there and watch it. It's not one of those shows I'm going to sit and make sure I watch every episode. Like it's a show that I'm going to fall asleep during every single night, and I'm not going to go back to the episodes I missed. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Like in a time like this, I'm trying to be on shows that like I'm locked in on. Like I can't stop watching it type of vibe.
Bro, Jim and Pam's love relationship, when it gets to its peak, which is season 4, is worth the watch, dude. It's worth the wait. But anyways, I'm gonna let you do you. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
And this is our very first podcast. We're out here. We're doing the dang thing. CCP, baby.
CCP.
And as we're getting started, we want just to basically introduce ourselves to give you guys a little bit of background information. If you're watching this from a platform, maybe you're a parent of a student, or maybe you're somebody who hasn't been connected with Bethany for a long time, and you're just listening to this podcast because you're in self-quarantine, you got nothing better to do. Like I said, my name is Jacob Allen Nielsen, high school pastor at Bethany Church. I came to Christ when I was 19 years old. Just was like a normal high school student, stupid, like smoked weed all the time, partied, chilled, had like friends that just did a bunch of bad stuff. And then all of a sudden, after I graduated high school, didn't really have a direction in my life, and found a bunch of friends that seemed to love different from what I was used to, from what I experienced even at home or with other friendships. And so I knew that they went to church. I knew that they followed Jesus. And at that point, I was like, I don't know who Jesus is, but I've heard his name before. And so I was like, okay, well, what is it that you guys like worship? Who is Jesus? Who is God? Had this full on conversation with in this car ride back from San Diego with my friend Orlando and Sabrina, who is now my wife. Hashtag missionary dating, hashtag equally yoked, hashtag um, once again, not a church sponsorship, but if you kind of fall into it, whatever, God can do crazy things. Anyways, and then basically through that, went to Arbor Road right down the street, met up with my boy Trent Lewis, who was a mentor for me for about a year or so. And then he just started teaching me about the Bible, gave my life over some hotcakes to Christ. And yeah, ever since that, I've been more and more in love with Jesus every day and out here serving at a church. And somehow, by God's grace, I'm a pastor of a ministry. So God has been good. He's been faithful. That's my quick synopsis of the background of my life. But yeah, God has been really good.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I'm Mike, as I already introduced. My background is a little bit different. I grew up in church. When I was young, 4 or 5 years old, I prayed the prayer with my parents at the dinner table, that sort of thing. But then I grew up and didn't really understand understood what I believed. I wasn't actually following Christ. When I got into high school, I had been involved in my youth ministry through middle school, those sorts of things. And when I was in high school, it really began to click for me. I started realizing that the way I was living was just not aligned with Scripture. I didn't believe what I said I believed. And so it wasn't until I was really in high school that I started to take my walk with the Lord seriously. And so I don't know, I couldn't tell you when the Lord actually saved me. Sure, it could have been when I was young, but in terms of my own life, I didn't really start taking my walk with Jesus seriously until high school. And then from there, it was just like an up and down roller coaster for me. There would be seasons of me being super involved in my ministry, leading Bible studies, that sort of thing. And then seasons of me just living in the world, smoking weed, doing whatever it is that you could imagine I was doing it. And then when I went off into college, that's when I that's when I really started to spiral downhill. I was in one of my downhill stints my freshman year of college. Started making a lot of really, really bad choices. And during that time, the Lord used it to kind of turn me back to Him. He allowed me to get to kind of rock bottom. And He used some people that were in my life, people around me that were believers, just to point me back to Him during that season. And that was when I was about 19 years old. And then from then on out, it's just been a life that I have just really done everything I can to just live for Him, to walk towards Him the best that I can. There has been times where I've made stupid decisions again, like it's been a roller coaster. It's never just me living the best I possibly can all the time. I'm still growing, that sort of thing. But from when I was like 19 years old to now is when the Lord kind of shaped and molded me and started leading me into ministry, which got me to where I am now. And who knows how I got here, honestly. It's just the Lord working. The fact that I'm in ministry is wild. If you would ask me my freshman year of college if I was going to be in ministry, I would have laughed at your face. And so being in ministry now, it's just really cool to be able to see my story, the things that God has used, taken me through, to prepare me, I guess you would say, for ministry. And so, yeah, that's my quick little tidbit.
Yeah, and I think there's something so beautiful about that, like your story, obviously, but then the opportunity for like students, if you're listening to this and you grew up in the church, and at some point in your life, you are going to have to make your faith your own. Like you can continue to go to church because your parents like continue to take you to church, but there's going to be a point where you're going to have to make a decision that you want to follow Jesus, and that could be during junior high, high school, or even after. Like Mike and I, wanting to make sure that you need to make that decision for yourself. And I think there's something beautiful about that because a lot of our students, or a lot of my students I know, have grown up in the church to some degree. So it's this hard like line of like, well, I've been going and I don't really see how God has saved me, or I don't see how, my life has changed in these different ways, which is cool too, which is a beautiful opportunity for you to then realize like God has been shaping you since you were a child or where
Mhm.
you were until you're at now, Mike. And like, it's even reflecting on us really realizing our life for Jesus, both when we were 19, having
Mhm.
different backgrounds, but still coming to like a realization of like, okay, there's something that needs to change. So I think
I
that's
love
super rad.
I love
I
it.
think it's super rad. And so, yeah, we have this podcast obviously because we want to be able to connect with students and be able to connect with our leaders and parents. If you're listening, like we would love to be able to connect with you. And I think this just gives us an opportunity to just have conversations about, Mike's going to kind of going to talk about like what we're going to be getting into from each episode. But like it gives us an opportunity just to share in community with one another, just to start these conversations, a realization that we care about you. We want you guys to know us more, and then also laugh with us, cry with us, wherever this podcast kind of leads. Like we want you to be able to experience that. And if you want to text us, call us, to talk to us more about whatever we're talking about, whether that's something that's ridiculous or something that really spoke to you, we would love to be able to connect with you guys after. And
Mhm.
so, not only is this just something that's fun, but it's something that we want to lead our ministry into and
Mhm.
continue on ministry even after this. So that is our heart. That is our feeling. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We're not just
Mhm.
doing it to have fun and joke around, but we care about you guys and we want you guys to be able to feel connected to Mike and I.
Mhm. Yeah, and so I'll give you guys kind of the rundown of what to look for just for the episodes kind of moving forward. So today our intro is a little bit longer than it normally will be, just because we're kind of introducing ourselves. People haven't seen us before or know who we are, or even for the high school students to know me better, and for the
Yeah.
junior high students to know Jacob better.
Yep.
But basically, the rundown of these episodes is going to be we're going to be talking about something that is like light, funny, just random topics that you guys give us, and then one thing that is a little bit heavier, something more life related that we're going to discuss. And so, in the comments in these posts or in these podcasts, we want you guys to put topics that we want to or you want us to discuss, whether they're funny or whether they're like real deep stuff. Put them in the comments, message us. Just let us know somehow what you want us to talk about, and Jacob and I will tackle those at some point. And so today, the very first thing that we really need to tackle, and it was a common request. Posted it on Instagram. People started putting in the things that they were interested in, and one thing that kept coming up was pizza. And what I loved most about this was we were talking on the phone, and we were talking about pizza, and it's just like youth ministry, you just consume so much
Oh,
pizza, and like we eat a lot of pizza, but most of it, like 99% of the pizza that I eat, is Little Caesars pizza. Um,
trash.
yeah, which makes me like low key hate pizza, but when you have good pizza, it makes it so much better.
Oh.
So about pizza, the first question was, do you like pineapple on your pizza? If you do, give me an explanation, and if you don't, I also need an explanation.
Bro, I love pineapple on pizza. Dude, people are sick, bro. Dude, because it's so good. You get a
No,
mixture of flavors, dude. You get savory, you get sweet, you get salty from the ham. All of this beautiful connection of not only different flavors, but different regions of the world. You got the tropics, you got pineapple, you know what I mean? You're getting
dude,
island
those things
vibes.
come out of a can. They take them out of a can though.
No, no, they're fresh, dude.
They don't cut fresh
They,
pineapple for this stupid pizza.
they're Little Caesars, and every pizza shop is sending a dude up there to go capture
Fresh
a
up a
pineapple.
tree.
Yep, yep. Those are organic, bro. And each ham selected beautifully by a man that goes and wrestles a pig. You know what I mean? Like Jacob and God kind of wrestled together. That's how I imagine the pizza people wrestling to get this ham. And so and they chop it up beautifully, and this is anywhere. This is all the places. And they sprinkle it on so nicely. And then you get to consume it and enjoy not only a dish that has a flavor abounding in difference that comes together beautifully. You also get that regional perspective of different areas coming together and molding beautifully.
You're so stupid. It's such a extra explanation. Um,
Sorry.
I, on the other hand, hate pineapple on my pizza. I hate it.
Sure.
It's terrible.
Sure.
When I was a child, my dad loved
Mm,
pineapple on his pizza.
he's a
And when I
good
was
man.
a kid, I hated it. It was the worst. And you can't even like. It was so annoying. My dad, I love my dad. He's the greatest person in the world. But when we ordered pizza, we were getting Canadian bacon pineapple pizzas. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
that's just what we were getting.
Love
And
that.
so as a child, I would be taking off the pineapple, but it doesn't actually take the taste away. You know what
No.
I'm saying? Like it's still
Mm,
on the pizza, which is the
yeah.
part I hate. And so for
Mm,
the thing that's bad about this is my whole entire life, I hated pineapple because of that. It wasn't until
okay.
like 2 or 3 years ago that I finally tried pineapple, just like fresh pineapple.
Yeah.
And now it's like my favorite fruit.
Stop.
So I hated it because of my dad, dude, because he liked it on pizza and it just doesn't
Ah.
go together for me.
Yeah.
And so I just don't enjoy it. I don't think it tastes bad. Like I don't think
Okay.
it's a disgusting taste.
Gotcha.
I don't think it goes well together. Like it's just not
Yeah.
my thing. You know what I mean?
You were traumatized by your father.
That's what I'm saying. I was traumatized.
Yeah. That's childhood trauma. Go ahead and look
Yeah,
that
yeah,
up,
yeah.
dude.
And so
Yeah.
yeah. So that will naturally lead me into asking you, what's your favorite
Okay.
kind of pizza? Is pineapple?
Oh,
We're
okay.
having pineapple. Is that your favorite? Or
No. It's definitely not my favorite. I can go for like a good spicy pepperoni. You know what I mean? Like there's like
yeah,
normal pepperoni, but like I like a spicy pepperoni. I'm a Parmesan, sprinkle the peppers all over it. But then I
okay.
also and I like a thin crust. I like a cracker, very crisp. Like
Mhm.
I could, you could do like the fold and it stands on its the things. It doesn't droop down all droopy nasty, but nice
Mhm.
and crisp. Ah, eat that up. And then yeah, and I eat it with ranch dressing.
Ranch dressing's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't, no one can argue that.
no way. If you argue that ranch dressing isn't good with pizza, you're
Don't
a
watch our podcast.
psycho. Don't watch her. Go home and cut your tongue off because you got no taste buds anyways. Just cut it off.
I love that. That's
What
good.
about you, bro? What's your
My
pizza you're messing with?
dude, classic, just pepperoni, straight up.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
let me clarify.
Okay.
Let's say I'm going to a place like Pizza Press. Okay, I'm
Okay.
making my own pizza. You know what I mean? Like I get to add the
Oh.
ingredients. I'm
Okay.
definitely going for a normal mozzarella cheese, but I'm also putting some Gouda on there. Okay,
Gouda.
Gouda cheese, dude, just a little bit, not too much. Some smoked Gouda, dude. Try
Okay.
it. I'm telling you. You
Oh.
put a little bit
Okay.
on there,
Yeah.
and you do the pepperoni. Okay, normal pepperoni, and I can go
Yeah.
for some spicy too. I like that.
Okay. Okay.
But then I also add some olives. Okay, just a little olives
Oh.
on there. Big fan of
A
black
little
olives.
briny. Okay.
Big
Okay.
fan of
I
that.
feel that.
And then if I'm feeling a little crazy, I'll put in some spicy Italian sausage. Okay, if I'm feeling like I need a
Oh.
little bit more meat, in
Oh.
my life. So that's
You gotta get your protein on.
you got to get your protein
You
on.
gotta stay big and built. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Right
dude,
there.
those pythons. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, come on, bro. Don't get me started on my pythons.
Yeah. All right. Last question about pizza. This
Yeah.
one's
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
It's 11:30 at night.
Oh.
You're needing some pizza.
Oh.
What pizza chain you calling to get yourself some pizza delivered?
Oh, Domino's all day.
Domino's. Praise the Lord.
With that, come on,
Praise
bro.
the Lord.
With that
Come on,
garlicky crust,
dude. It's so good.
that's
I
what I'm
could
at.
eat it by
But
itself.
come on, bro. But also, if I have a bag of Totino's pizza rolls, I'm throwing those in the oven real
Those
quick.
things are bomb, dude.
That's what I'm saying. I'm tossing those in the oven, get them nice and crisp. You know?
Also, don't sleep on frozen pizza. Don't sleep on Red Baron. Everyone
Uh,
doesn't grab it because it's cheap, but it's like for the cheap ones, it's the best one for sure.
okay. Okay.
I'm a big Red
Dude,
Baron guy.
wait, and let me ask you a question. In Washington, or like how I like to call it, Washington.
Yeah, because
Mm,
it's like country.
mm. And did they have did they have like the circular ones that look like a tart almost in like school, like high school or junior high?
Yeah. Those
Okay, they
little
had
guys.
those as well. Yeah, the
Yeah,
circular guys.
I used to
Okay,
have them all the time. I used
okay,
to eat those
cool.
all the time.
Oh, really?
That's why your boy
Dude,
got a belly.
dude, shout out. Okay, this is going on a tangent at this point, but Long Beach Unified School District, we have these beef
Mm,
and cheese burritos, and I can't remember the name brand of them, but they were the best. Like there was like bean and cheese. That's all you needed, dude. Molten lava, but one of the best things I've ever eaten in my entire life. So
Molten
shout out
lava.
if you go to Milliken, Lakewood, Pauley, Wilson, any Long Beach Unified School District. If you guys got those bean and cheese burritos, obviously you're not there because everybody's quarantined. But if you guys go, give me like 15 of those. I'll give you some cashola. I'll even pay you for your time next time your guys are back in school. So just a heads up. I want to give
There
you
we
guys
go.
that shout out.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love pizza. I love that that was the common thread for people. So if there's other things you want us to discuss, let us know. We'll debate it. We'll talk about it. We'll give you theological points on why
Oh.
pizza is better. No, we won't. I won't do that.
Mm.
I'm not going to do that.
Dude,
So,
it is the holy trinity of sauce, cheese, and bread, bro. And then you just throw a little extra toppings, extra little blessings on top. Come on.
like gifts, like the wise men bringing gifts to Jesus.
Spiritual gifts.
Gouda cheese.
Dude. Stupid.
All right,
I love it.
all right. Let's talk about something that's a little bit more serious. So another thing that popped up a decent amount from students and from leaders who just commented things that they wanted us to talk about was Jacob and I's relationships with our spouses. And just Jacob being recently married, Hannah and I being married for almost 2 years now, and having our first baby on the way. Just kind of like relationships in general. And then with that, Jacob transitioning to being married and me transitioning into being a father, just kind of talking about life transitions. So I'm going to have Jacob start us off as we've been doing in this podcast so far. But just talk about what it's been like for you. You were dating Sabrina for, was it 7 years?
7 years.
8 years.
Almost,
before you guys got married. And so tell me a little bit about that, what that transition's been like for you, going from dating, engaged to married, things you'd have had to focus on, things you've had to think about now that you didn't have to think about prior. Just tell me about that transition.
Yeah, I think it's been wild because when you date somebody for almost 8 years, like you know a lot about them. You've been around them long enough to understand kind of how they work, what makes them frustrated, what brings them a lot of joy, and those sort of different things. And we get this opportunity, or I get this chance to be with her. Like there was always like an ending point of our hanging out, right? Like there was always like, okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. And now we get to be in the same place all the time, which has been so far amazing. Which has been so freaking rad, honestly. And like we just get to enjoy life together, whether that's like something silly as having a morning cup of coffee or watching our favorite TV shows before we go to sleep. Like there's been this really cool connection that we've been a part of. And like when you've been dating somebody for so long, you kind of think like, okay, how can this get better? Or how can this be new? Or how can this be different? I know everything about them, like whatever. I've been with them for this amount of time, but like this transition has been so cool because it just has advanced our relationship so much further, and even our connection a lot further as well. So it's been amazing so far. Like it's come with like challenges already because a lot of people aren't quarantined with their spouse immediately after they're married. Yeah. So it's kind of like you're finding your habits, you're finding their habits, and how can they kind of mold together quickly? Because there's silly things like, I don't like to do dishes, but since we've been in quarantine, there's been dishes all the time because we're just at home eating. And she finds herself washing dishes a lot, and I find myself doing all the other things. And so seeing how our habits can kind of come together and work together in that is something that's really cool. I think like if I'm being honest, there's a general nervousness of like being married to somebody just because I don't know how to be a good husband. Like I've seen examples of people in my life that have been good husbands, and I've seen examples of people that have been bad or not as good, I guess, or qualities that I don't want to follow after at least. And so I've been trying to learn from those examples. Like I think even my grandpa that I lived with for most of my life in that same house, I gleaned a lot from him of just working hard and being positive and he was never a guy that would like leave if conversations were hard. He wasn't somebody that would like walk out or like
Yeah.
storm out. He
Yeah.
was very like calm and even keel, and would be able to have like really healthy conversations. Like this is weird and awkward, but like I remember my grandparents having a conversation when I was 13 years old about their sex life and the
Mhm.
challenges that they were having at
Mhm.
50 years old with their sex life. And I know that's weird to even hear, but like that was something that was really good for me to even understand of like, okay, this is how
Mhm.
you have a positive conversation
Yeah,
that's
and be
really
able to
good
talk about it.
communication. Yeah. And so being able to reflect that or to see that and try to mimic it has been really good. And so, it's a scary path because I don't know what life looks like in 10 years. I don't know exactly where we're going to be at, but there's a comfort that we have a God that continues to love us and care for him. And if I continue seeking after him in all things of my life, like I was kind of even sharing my message, like
Yeah,
he'll continue to bless that marriage. So making
for
sure to
sure.
seek after God before I just kind of get into it. But yeah, that's kind
Crazy.
of like how marriage has been. How
I
about
love
you, bro? You're about to have a baby in like
that.
3 months. Come
It's
on.
wild. It's wild,
Yeah.
bro. It's been
Yeah.
weird. Like Hannah and I have not like we haven't been together as long as you and Sabrina. So like
Right. That's wild.
we met and we got engaged like 10 months later, and then
Yeah.
got married 9 months after that. And so
Yeah.
like our journey has been like quick, quick, quick.
Yeah.
And it just even seems like now us having our first baby is like it's just life just keeps changing
Yeah.
all the time. I go from being a college athlete to engaged to married to within that first year of marriage, like starting like my first job in ministry, which is like starting a career type of job, like something that I
Right.
know I'm going to do the rest of my life. So then within that first year of working there, um, Hannah being pregnant. And so it's just the last few years of my life have just been full of just transitions, and figuring out how to do those well. Um, and luckily, as I'm sure you would agree with this, like having your best friend next to you during
Yeah.
it makes those things really, really easy. And someone that you trust, that like even in the middle of you being stressed out or you like running yourself into the ground trying to like
Mhm.
provide or doing all those sorts of things, someone that actually will give you honest feedback,
Right.
and honest feedback in a way that like it obviously when my wife calls me out, it doesn't feel great.
Right.
But like I trust her that she loves me, and like I don't have that trust with most other people,
Yeah.
for them to like tell me where I need to slow down and those sorts of things. And so all that to say, this season of getting prepared for a baby coming, it moves a million miles an hour. Like to think that she is 25 weeks tomorrow, which makes us 15 weeks out from like full term, uh, is just it's crazy. Like I'm literally sitting in our daughter's nursery right now, where we have a crib. There's like a stroller in the corner. Like we have like the things, and even like I was reading that once you hit 24 weeks, so we hit 24 weeks last week. Uh, the baby can be born premature, and with medical help, the baby can survive. So the baby is fully
Mm.
formed enough to survive outside of the womb, with some medical help. And so when it hit that point at 24 weeks last week, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this could actually happen any day.
Yeah.
Like hopefully it doesn't, but like it could.
Right.
Um, and so it's just a lot of unknown, dude. A lot of unknown. Like you were saying, like you've never been a husband. I've never been a
Mhm.
husband. I've
Right.
never been a father. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so like just to think that it's a beautiful like opportunity where I'm like, this is so cool. I get to raise someone that is designed in the image of God,
Hmm.
in the ways of the Lord, be able to point them to Him, in
Yeah.
everything that we do, the way we parent, the way we lead, the way we love, that sort of thing. Um, but at the same point, like that's really scary. Like I can do real
Right.
damage. I've heard
Right.
Jeff say when he started being the lead pastor at Bethany, he was just like, "This is like a big burden. Like I can do a lot of damage to something that is very precious to God."
Yeah.
And so taking that kind of same mindset into parenting and preparing even for parenting
Mhm.
is just the same thing. Like I can do a lot of damage to someone that is created in the image of God and that
Yeah.
Christ came to die for.
Mm.
And just like not taking that lightly um, has been something that I've been trying to prepare myself for, at least. Just like my heart and my mind, and just like the way that I have patience, even with my dog, of
Yeah.
like my dog annoys me. And so it's like, okay, my child is probably going to annoy me at some
And then,
point. Like,
yeah.
how do I have
Yeah.
patience? How do I love in the midst of those things? And so, yeah, man, it's been a weird season. It's been a lot of internal, like, just battles with myself of like, am I ready for this? Like,
Mm.
knowing that even if I'm not, I have to be.
Yeah.
And so it's just,
Yeah.
dude, it's been a lot. It's been a weird season. I'm excited, and I'm also stressed out. So
Yeah.
that's
Totally.
that.
And I think something, and this is just reflective of our relationship and our story. It's just really cool to see you getting engaged at 10 months,
Mhm.
right? And being able to have a good marriage that's filled with like loving Jesus and continuing that conversation and communication and all those things coming together to
Yeah.
work really well. And myself and Sabrina dating for as long as we did, still the end result is marriage and a love for one
Hmm.
another and seeking
Hmm.
after Christ. And
Hmm.
same thing with even our testimonies is like things are going to look a lot different for a lot of different people. And ultimately, like the end result is going to be hopefully students, staff, people loving Jesus, still seeking after him, and that God will
Hmm.
continue to guide them despite the differences, despite not knowing who Jesus was till I was 19, or somebody who
Hmm.
grew up in a church still giving their life to Christ, or
Hmm.
somebody who was dating for 7 years, almost 8 years,
Hmm.
coming to be happily married, or somebody who dating for 10 months, engaged, and then happily married as well. So
Hmm.
God can your path is going to look so different from anybody else's. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that path is better, or
Yeah.
there's that there's some differences, and some things are easier and some things are harder, but it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you're any less valued, any less different. God still
Hmm.
loves you and cares for you. He's still going to bless your relationship, whether you've been dating for somebody for 8 years or only 10 months, as long as you continue to seek after him. So I think
Hmm.
that's something that's just been cool and kind of a common theme
Yeah.
throughout even this conversation.
Yeah. And I think for me, it was very easy for me growing up to look at people that I looked up to, like my
Hmm.
youth pastor or like leaders in my youth ministry or coaches or
Yep.
that sort of thing. And I saw like their trajectory of life,
Mm.
or even my parents at times, seeing their trajectory of life and looking at that as like, oh, that's what I need to do in
Right.
order to be like doing the right thing, or to be successful, or to be happy, or whatever it was. And I think just like debunking that, like, that's not true. Like,
Right.
just because someone else walked that path, like just because I got married quickly, and we're having a baby quickly into marriage, like that sort of thing, and it's stuff what we talked about and decided we wanted to do.
Yeah.
um, like, just because that's a path that we're walking doesn't make it the right path, it just makes it
Hmm.
our path.
Totally.
And so just like encouraging students that are watching this, like, don't look at Jacob and my story and be like, oh, I got to look just like that. Or
Yep.
I grew up in church, I got to have a stage of my life where I basically walk away and then like come back and the Lord will use that, whatever. And it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, sure, God can use that. But like he's gonna lead you down the path he wants to lead you down. And the only way you're gonna know you're going down the right path is if you're seeking him out first in
Hmm.
everything. And that's just comes from daily dependency on him.
Yeah.
And like that's something I'm even learning now with getting prepared for being a father. It's like, how am I doing in terms of being completely dependent on Christ in everything I do? Um, because if I'm not, my child is going to see a man that is a pastor that speaks about seeking Christ in everything I do,
Right.
but doesn't actually practice that at home. And so, like, that's something for me that it's pushed me in these last few months of just like, how am I really doing?
Yeah.
Because I think it's really easy to fall into walking through, just going through the motions of church, and getting up and reading your Bible because that's what you're supposed to do. And I even talked about this in one of my messages recently of like how just the act of doing those things aren't going to be the things that transform you, but seeking out Christ in everything to allow Him to actually transform you,
Hmm.
has been has been something that I think is important. And I think our students really need to focus on that. And you can start that when you're 11, 12 years old. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a
Yeah.
19-year-old that has some responsibility. Like it can start like right now, it can start today, So,
Hmm. That's super rad. Yeah. And like you were even sharing, like you had people like in your life that were kind of these very valuable people in your relationships, people that you looked up to. I feel like for me specifically, I had a bunch of people that I didn't want to emulate. You know,
hmm
that's people that were really close to me, even parents at time. And
hmm
as I was even sharing in my message yesterday, and it feels like it's coming full circle. It's like it seemed like they were living a life, and for the camera, neither of my parents are believers. I would even consider my dad. I think he would consider himself even atheist. And so there's this like thing that I see in him or even in my mom and those relationships. It seems like they're missing something,
hmm
right? Like my entire life, like I love them and care for them, and I have qualities that I've gleaned from them just being humans. But then also, it seems like there always has been something missing for them, and that missing component in life is Jesus. And so, you have people in your life that can be those position people that you should look towards and want to emulate in a way, not like perfectly, but
hmm
like, see that they have great characteristics and
For
seeing
sure.
how your relationship with God can form in that.
For
But
sure.
then also there's people in your life that you need to see that are living incomplete because they don't have Jesus,
Yeah.
and that you should ultimately, love them and care for them, but then also understand that there's something that's missing.
hmm
Whether that encourage you, maybe this is an encouragement for you to go and share the gospel with them, or maybe this is an opportunity for you to give you comfort in the path that you're going down because it's your path and God has created that for you specifically. So whatever it is that you want to glean, these are conversations that we want to continue to have as well.
hmm
Just being able to talk to you about Jesus, our relationship with Him, how
For
that's
sure.
ongoing and changing. For
Yeah.
us, I think that's the beautiful part is that, like it's never stagnant, or at least it shouldn't be
hmm
stagnant. It should be
Yeah.
constantly moving. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
I guess one last thing before we're done with this deal,
yeah,
that isn't on my notes in terms of to ask.
sure.
It's kind of there, but not really. What has God been teaching you in like these last 2 weeks? Just with the coronavirus and everything going on, like what have you been learning? What have you been challenged with?
Mhm.
Yeah, what's going on for you?
Yeah, I think specifically what I've been learning is how much I miss church, how much
Mm,
I miss my students, or even seeing the people that maybe even annoyed me from time to time.
hmm
Um, just seeing how amazing it was to have an opportunity to gather with people that also love Jesus, but then also with the people that don't know who Jesus is, and there's definitely a longing for that,
hmm
and just seeing that God puts us in positions, even in life, that we're in this weird stay at home, self quarantine, like sort of way or whatever we're in right now. And
hmm
like being able to learn of like, or remind myself that God has the church for a reason. Like there's a
For
reason God
sure.
built a church specifically for us to be able to gather and worship Him and to encourage and love on. And sure, things look different now, but
hmm
I just miss that so much.
For
And
sure.
so that's just something that I've been like thinking about. I know that's not specifically like out of the Bible,
Yeah,
but just reminding myself of like how good church really is, and
for sure.
yeah, how excited I am for when that day comes of when we're all able to come together, whether
That's so
that's youth
cool.
ministry or big church. So
Yeah,
it's yeah. What about you?
that's cool, man. I think just appreciating the daily things that I get to do,
Yeah,
of just like going to a grocery store and being able to talk to people, and having conversations with random individuals,
yeah,
being able to just go to the beach and like enjoy life.
yeah.
And not when I go to the grocery store, like make sure I wear gloves and then like take the gloves off and then like still hand sanitize my hands like when I get in the car and that sort of thing. It's just like I think we take advantage of how much we have here,
Mm,
especially in America, of just like the fact that me and you can be working from home and
Yeah.
still have a job, and just like how blessed we truly are. Um, and just like time with my wife, like taking advantage of that. Like I feel like I was talking to Hannah about this the other day, that like we just need to take advantage of the time that we have to spend together and to rest in this season. Like our lives, we're never going to have this much alone time together ever again, starting in
No.
2.5 months. You know what I mean? Like until we're
Yeah.
50, 60 years old and our kids are out of the house, like
Yeah.
we will never have alone time again. And so just trying to enjoy those things that I used to, or I normally would just take advantage of, and just like act like those are normal parts of life.
Yeah.
And just trying to enjoy the blessings that the Lord has given me, whether that's being able to go to the grocery store without having to wear gloves,
Yeah.
and being able to stand next to someone not 6 feet away, or just spending quality time with my wife. I feel like I've taken advantage of those things for a while, and just really, really enjoying those things.
Yeah. That are always, I always am humbled. Like whenever I get sick
Hmm.
and you can't smell and you can't taste anything.
Yep.
And that always reminds me of like, dang, bro, how did I not appreciate life more when I could
Right.
taste everything? Or
Right.
like you're freaking, yeah, you're coughing all day. I'm like, man, I really didn't take advantage of life before.
Right.
Am I ever going to taste anything ever
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
again?
I
Or
love
like,
that.
or what else? Or like when you get a kink in your neck, and then all of a sudden you're doing one of these and you can't like go past this, and you're like,
Nope.
bro, I need my neck so much.
Like,
Like,
yeah,
like
I
I am
totally hear you.
I am fragile. I
Yeah,
am
and you
taking
like
my
feel like
stupid
you're
neck.
dying. You like feel like
Yeah,
you're dying. You're like, I feel like my grandpa. You know what I mean? It's like this
yeah,
to turn. You know what I mean? Has to keep it like real square with his
yeah.
chest.
No, exactly. And I'm like, I don't
Ugh.
appreciate these bones, these
Also,
ligaments that
I'm
are going
old.
on.
Like I'm also really old.
I love that, man.
Oh, it's awesome, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the first episode of CCP, baby.
Come
Oh
on,
my,
CCP. What's the CC stand for?
what I, dude, I barely even know. I forget from time to time.
I do too.
But we're excited to be a part of you guys. We want to be able to release videos like this or the podcast twice a week. That's going to be on Tuesdays and Fridays. We're just excited to be with you guys. Make sure you comment, connect with us on things that you would want us to talk about. And we love you guys and we care for you guys.
Yeah, we love you. Shoot us a message. I'll give you my cell phone number. If you don't have it, I'll give it to you.
Whoa.
Jacob threw his out on a sermon yesterday.
I,
That was hype. I guess I'll give that to you guys. Why not? Text me. I love you. Send us what you want us to talk about, or just message us on the Herd LB, or the Way LB. We love you guys. Until next time, later.